This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Dr. Doug Smith here. It's Monday, 1 o'clock. We're doing our Monday through Thursday podcast, 1 o'clock. And we're going through the citizens petition page by page. Remember, this is the podcast where you will hear the truth about what actually happened to people during the opioid crisis. This is the podcast where you'll actually see the science. And we go over the science in great detail. And right now, we are in the part of the citizens petition where we're laying out what's called factual causation. Factual causation is X caused Y. Opioids cause genetic damage. And we've broken factual causation down into 5 categories: general causation, specific causation, signature disease, biomarker of exposure, and biomarker of disease. We've gone through general causation. We've gone through specific causation. We've gone through signature disease. And today we are starting the biomarker of exposure. Now, according to the definition of a biomarker of exposure to Green, Sanders, and Gold in 2016, they define a biomarker of exposure as, and I quote, an observable change that occurs with exposure but is otherwise absent, end of quote. An observable change. So it's got to be something you can see. And it occurs with exposure, but it doesn't occur with anything else. That's what a biomarker of exposure is. And remember, we're getting into factual causation. Did X cause Y? Did the opioids cause genetic damage? So we're looking for a biomarker of exposure. We're looking for something that tells us that the opioids did some damage. And so what we have done is we've built a test. Okay, we've built a test. We've built a test that can actually detect and measure the genetic damage done by the opioids. We measure what's called hypermethylation. Okay, and specifically, if you really want to get into the science, we're measuring hypermethylation in the promoter region of the OPRM1 gene. Okay, now we know the methylation's there, but how do we measure it? Well, if you know what you're doing, it's I'm not gonna say it's easy, but it's doable. And we use what's called a bisulfite PCR protocol, and you can Google that. You can look it up. So bisulfite PCR protocol. PCR is polymerase chain reaction. It's a little machine we use in the labs. Cool thing. And what we're actually doing is called melting point methylation PCR. Melting point methylation polymerase chain reaction. That's the type of test that we're running. And the purpose of the test is to detect abnormal methylation in the promoter region of the OPRM1 gene. Why do we do that? Because patients with hypermethylation in the OPRM1 gene due to repetitive opioid exposure are known to be at risk of autonomic dysfunction and with possible catecholamine toxicity. Catecholamine toxicity is associated with catastrophic cardiac morbidity and mortality. It'll kill you. Okay, so we built a test. That test, we built the biomarker of exposure. Let me say this again, people. We built the biomarker of exposure. It didn't exist. We had to build it from scratch. And there are 3 billion base pairs, nucleotide base pairs in the human genome, in the human DNA, over 3 billion actually. And we had to narrow it down to 100 consecutive base pairs. And so we had to be good at what we did. And we were very careful. We cared. This matters. People are dying. And we built a good test. And so we're actually measuring melting points. And what we found is that for about 7 out of 10 people, we can give you a real solid answer. We can give you that you're either positive or strongly positive. For about 3 out of 10 people, the melting point's too close to normal, and we just don't have, we can't see through the noise. You can't see the signal through the noise. So for about 70% of the people, we can get you a definitive answer. You're either strong or you're either positive or strongly positive. And so people, for a lab test to be taken seriously, you got to be able to have it paid for by Medicare, Medicaid, and commercial insurance. So that's the process that we've done, and we're finishing that up now. We're we're very happy. And we know we had to do this. We know we had to do this test because human behavior, corporate behavior, is predictable. Okay, they're going to deny. Okay, the pharmaceutical companies are going to deny they've damaged people. Okay, and the psychiatrists are going to deny that this DNA has been damaged. And so we needed a strong test because people are going to deny the science. And as long as the science is being denied, people are continuing to be hurt. And so we wanted to make it harder for the drug companies to deny what they've done. And we wanted to make it harder for the psychiatrists to continue this nonsense about a mental health diagnosis. And so we knew that we had to have a strong test, and we built one. So let's hold here for today. We'll pick up here tomorrow, and we'll pick up and continue to talk about the biomarker of exposure. My name is Dr. Doug Smith. This is our Monday through Thursday, 1 p.m. podcast. And don't forget to like and support us. Post us on your social media and post us on everybody else's social media. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.